big one today. Big news coming from the Bruins, obviously breaking. Jim Montgomery has been relieved of his duties as head coach of the Boston Bruins early on into his third season with the team. We'll get into that. As always, we go through what's trending, including Joel Embiid getting called out by his teammates in Philly. We give our power rankings as we always do on our midweek edition of the show. And we got a conversation with Tito, Terry Francona, as he caught up with TC before the tradition. Let's get right into it, Trav. Yeah. So big news for the Bruins. Obviously, they got off to an 8-9-3 start, 20 games into the season with the worst power play in the NHL, one of the worst penalty kills, and one of the most anemic offenses we've seen from a team that was the best in the regular season in 2022.
That's right.
To 2023, a hot start, and then finished up and down, but took the Panthers well into
the Leafs.
But the Leafs in 7, then fell to the Panthers before they won a cup.
Yep.
To now just 20 games into season 3. As the Bruins put in the press release, relieved of his duties. What are you thinking when you hear this for Montgomery?
I wasn't surprised. I just feel as though we all watch the team. We see the same things. The most frustrating part for me was the starts to games. I know we're talking start of the season, big picture here, and why this decision was made with Montgomery, but the start of actual games was so frustrating to me. This team felt a lot of times lifeless, flat, and then they're playing catch up. And it's like some nights they'd come back and it would be great, or they'd come back and they'd still lose late. Some nights, because of that slow start, they get smoked. And it's just like at some point, you could see physically the frustration with Montgomery and players. We could all see that. You could hear it in the media. He's getting snippy. It just felt like the message was not resonating with players or the media. And it also, in a way, we hear this cliche a lot in sports about it's time for a new voice.
Yeah.
But I actually think in this case that's palpable. It's time for a new voice. We'll see what Sacco does. But I guess it had grown stale in a sense between the messaging from the coach to the players. You hate to use another cliche and say, well, he's lost the locker room, but it just didn't seem like there was a connection between him and the players.
Yeah.
A disconnect was there. The Wi-Fi was not working. And instead of waiting for it to magically flip back on, which no one believed was going to happen, I think the Bruins made the right decision here. It is what it is.
I mean, he lost it. A lot of different personnel. And what the big part is, what's tough is that your three biggest signings of the offseason. Elias Lindholm, who I was all over, and obviously there's still time. He just has been off to a slow start.
Yeah.
Nikita Zadorov doesn't exactly fit Jim Montgomery's system. And Jeremy Swayman, after his holdout, has been a shell of himself.
Yes.
Now, if his confidence comes back, he gets back in shape.
He's young enough.
Then he can catch up.
Yeah.
But, that's tough that you put that on the head coach because it's a lot of parts, like a Nikita Zadorov not being the best at skating right now in Montgomery's system. And it looks like a team that has to think and isn't just playing when Jim Montgomery's whole system is letting them play freely. Like even in Nikita Zadorov, this is his third team in the last 2 years. That's a lot of defensive systems you have to learn as you go. Like, was he all the way situated where he wants to be? Then you also have the line of the Marchand Coyle Geeky line combining for 1 5-on-5 goal. Again, there are disconnects, and that's on coaching, that's on personnel, it's player performance. It's a lot. It's tough to see just 20 games in, but this Bruins team went from a first-round exit in 2022, second-round exit in 2023. Right now, they're in the very final wild card spot of the East, which is amazing at them just being 8-9-3. It shows a parity in the league.
Yes.
Where you want to give it time, but it just feels like there was no progress being made. And to your point, there constantly is the lack of effort, the lack of execution, the overtime loss they had back on Saturday, awful turnover and OT, and no one there to recover and make a play. Given that's with Korpisalo in goal, there is just this Bruins team has been falling well under expectations, and for everything put into the team, something had to be done.
I'm glad you brought up the wild card because I think now, obviously, that has to be the goal moving forward. We see this a lot in sports when a new coach takes over. There is that new voice that I alluded to earlier. It does provide a spark, at least initially. We'll see if it has sustaining power because I am anticipating that happening. New voice here, new movement. We're moving forward. Okay, good. Let's see what Sacco can do. But long term, You look at the Eastern Conference, George, outside of the Capitals, who I do think will sort of come back to earth here, especially with the injury to Ovi. But the Canes aren't going anywhere. The Devils aren't going anywhere. We know damn well the Panthers, nor the Leafs, nor the Rangers are. And the Lightning, old as dirt, right there as always. Even though I think the Capitals come back to earth a bit, they're still going to be in the mix as well. Ovi's going to be healthy. Everything's going to be fine there. So the Bruins are right there on the back end of all of that. All those teams I just named are currently ahead of you, and I don't think – now the order in which they change will change, but I don't think any of those core teams are going anywhere. The Bruins, to me, best case right now is they find a way to get in the playoffs as that final wild card. We'll see if that happens, but I think in a lot of ways that is a win. I think if you could get through this, what we're going through right now with this coaching change, and still find your way back in or not into the playoffs, that is a win. Because I'm hearing a lot of Bruins fans talking about the lottery. Like, I think there's too much hockey left to be played and too much parity, to George's point, particularly in the Eastern Conference, to just punt on the season. I'm not buying that.
In 184 games, Jim Montgomery, 120, 41, and 23 record. Just 41 regulation losses in 184 games. Like, the success he had early, but the start to his third season there was tough. Don Sweeney, in the press release put out by the Bruins, said, quote, "Our team's inconsistency in performance in the first 20 games has been concerning and below how the Bruins want to reward our fans. I believe Joe Sacco has a coaching experience to bring the players and the team back to focusing on the consistent effort the NHL requires to have success. We will continue to work to make the necessary adjustments to meet the standard and performance our supportive fans expect," end quote. Cam Neely saying, quote, "We wish Jim and his family the best moving forward, both personally and professionally. I'm supportive of Don's decision to address our current play and performance. Joe Sacco has a wealth of experience and knowledge of our roster and can help lead our team in the right direction. He has a strong understanding of our standards and expectations, and I trust he will do all he can to accomplish our organization's goals this season." Joe Sacco, the interim head coach, was a Sabres assistant in 2013 with the Bruins since 2014. 13-year NHL player, was 4 years as a Colorado Avalanche head coach, now 10 years on the Bruins staff, and was promoted to associate head coach this summer. About 55 years old. We'll see how Sacco does. This is a big spot.
From here, from the area, played at BU.
Yeah, from Medford, kid.
There you go. Knows the
Medford,
culture.
Mass.
Knows what it means
to
be a Bees. Do it again. Do Medford again.
Medford. Medford, Mass, man.
Knows what it means to be a Bruins coach. I think this is going to work. Is he the long-term answer? We'll find out. But I think he has one hell of a runway to prove that he's ready for this gig. At this point, it's an audition. And if he goes out and he does what I say, because I'm telling you, I'm not punning. Now, we could talk in 2 months and maybe I'll be singing a different tune. But as of this moment, even with this move at the coach position, I still feel as though the Bruins could be a playoff team in the Eastern Conference, albeit it'll look different than it has in years past. This team will be fighting for that last wild card spot would be my prediction. But if you can withstand all of this and still make the playoffs, I'll take it. And I think that says a lot for Sacco in terms of the job moving forward.
They're allowing the sixth most goals per game. Second worst offense, scoring only 2.4 goals per game. Goal differential, minus 21 goal differential. It's one of the worst in the league.
That's terrible.
Their expected goal differential is 0.37. So they're expected to barely be beating their opponents. Right. So they're just falling well under literal expectations. Again, worst power play, 25th ranks penalty
If
kill.
you get off to a fast, that's my point. This is my frustration, personally. If you get off to a faster start in these games, it could change the complexity of the game. A lot of times, this team is playing behind the 8 ball because they come out so damn flat, and then the other team goes up, and you're in a 2-3 game or a 2-3 goal hole, and you got to climb out of it. That takes a lot out of you. I mean, I honestly feel as though if they can start these games better and more buttoned up and just ready to go, ready to play, I think they'll start to turn and win some of these games that they're inexplicably losing now. I think the start in a game is more than what you may be giving credit for.
I mean, what you do here, like for the players in that dressing room, like this is the wake up. Like you guys got Jim Montgomery fired.
Yeah.
So with the Jeremy Swayman within .884 save percentage, and a .347 goals allowed at average. Like, this is a guy that's 2.5 and 92% save percentage. Like, wake up. And Elias Lindholm, wake up. Nikita Zadorov, wake up.
Yeah.
Charlie Coyle, coming off a career high. You weren't expecting him to match that, but he just like doesn't even look close to the level he's played at.
I was
like, Pavel Zacha, same thing. David Pastrnak, the power play and the penalty kill.
Yeah.
What this move is with a roster that the Bruins have almost went all in on.
Yes.
Now you need a guy like a Matty Patrick. Can he return from the AHL?
Sure.
They still need depth scoring on the wings.
Yeah.
I'm the one that said, on paper, this team can contend for the Stanley Cup.
So did I.
No one saw them underperforming like this.
No.
You fire your head coach. That is the wake up for the players.
Hopefully.
Now they got to step up, and we'll see if the lights a fire under them.